So I'm Sebastian van Doort. I'm the Associate Director for Energy and Sustainability here at the BSI. And the BSI is the UK's national standards body, and we support UK government and industry with their national standardisation needs. And we feed in the UK perspective into international standards making, particularly in organisations like SENS, CENELEC and ISO. My role here at the BSI is to work with government, industry and regulators to understand where standards can support and deliver on policy outcomes, and particularly accelerate the transition to a more sustainable future. And that means, using existing standards better to support industry with their sustainability goals. But a large part of my job is looking at standard gaps. Where are new standards needed for a more sustainable net zero future by 2050? Well, obviously we are the UK's national standards body, so obviously standards are very important to us. But I think standards are very important more generally. My background was in standards. It's been probably about 3 years since I joined the national standards body, and it was really an eye-opening moment, almost like the Matrix, because once I sort of joined the BSI, I realised that actually most things that we look at in our society are standardised. From the train tracks that we ride our trains onto, the cybersecurity protocols that keep us safe online. So standards are really important, and they're sort of everywhere, particularly in the role that I do. We know that we need standards, in particular when we look at supporting the transition to a net zero future. We need standards to ensure that new forms of energy generation and technology are interoperable, safe and secure, but also standards accelerate adoption and mainstreaming of innovation, and in order to reach net zero by 2050, we need a lot of innovation. Standards help to mainstream that innovation and help de-risk the investment and help to develop the market. But most of all, the area that I work in sustainability, standards are needed to provide rigor and credibility, in particular when it comes to sort of green claims or avoid sort of greenwashing, but also to give guidance to industry on how to be sort of more sustainable. So all in all, I think there's a huge role for standards, and I think they're very important in that context. Yeah, it's an interesting one, that. So for me, you've got to think about what is a standard. So a standard is a process that captures what good looks like and then allows newcomers to that new area to replicate that good practice. So in regards to SDGs, standards can translate SDGs into a business context and introduce impactful measures and steps to take to align your business and your working practices with the specific SDG. So in other words, it provides you guidance to support you to take action in a meaningful, consistent, and most of all, credible manner. So I'll give you an example. If we look at, let's say, SDG 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, we take, for instance, the ISO 14000 series, where they can help you with implementing your environmental management system and reducing your emissions. And as such, it provides a practical way to address, SDG 13, but also a credible way. ISO 14000 series have been accepted across the globe, and therefore they have that credibility that what you're doing sort of is credible. So I think that provides a good example of how standards can help you reach your SDG goals. My favourite standard, I sort of cheated here and I selected 2 standards. One is one that we recently released, which is BS 25700, the Organisational Responses to Modern Slavery. This is a pioneering standard which provides organisations guidance on how to manage modern slavery risks in their operations, supply chains and the wider operating environment. It provides a holistic approach to addressing modern slavery that puts people at the heart of an organisation, and it's a very important area to address and that's why I think this is such an important standard. But my second favourite is probably one that you might not expect, but it's the USB-C. Obviously, the background is that every device, smartphone, tablet or laptop seems to come with their own charger. But do you really need all these different cables and charging blocks, or can you reuse the same charger for multiple devices? Well, this is essentially what USB-C does. That one tiny connector can charge a multitude of electronic devices. It seems quite a relatively tiny change, but as with most things in standards, they have a huge sort of global impact. Obviously, you know, we harmonize charging speeds across the globe for devices that support that fast charging. But also you as a buyer can now choose whether you want to purchase a device with or without a charging device. And when I think about that, I just think about how much waste and plastic that will save. I think some researchers say that it will reduce greenhouse gas emissions in Europe by 180,000 metric tons per year and reduce material use by 2,600 metric tons a year. So there's quite significant impact, but also it is much more convenient, and I think that sort of highlights the sort of power of standards and the big global impact that they can have.